Astros. A ton of rain here in Texas, and tonight we're in Houston, where the roof is closed at Minute Maid Park. It's a brief two-game set. The St. Louis Cardinals and the Houston Astros. That's the Matt Hungarian Al Raboski. Jim Hayes is here as well. I'm Dan McLaughlin. The Cardinals, it's a great test tonight. They face the Cy Young Award winner of the American League from a year ago, and that is Dallas Keuchel.
And that was a year ago. A lot of the Astros got off to a very slow start, and so did Keuchel. Last year, here at home, he was unbeatable, 15-0 with a 1.46 ERA. This year, a little bit different, but he is pitching much better of late.
Dallas Keuchel for Houston. For the Cardinals, their left-hander, Jaime Garcia. Jose Altuve could be the MVP in the American League. He's going to win a batting championship. One of the best. He's in the lineup tonight. He will win the batting championship of the American League. Houston Astros and one of the game's best hitters. He will win the batting championship of the American League. Part of our Academy Sports and Outdoor leaderboard. He's batting .362. Next closest, .313. Homecoming of sorts for Randal Grichuk. He's in center field tonight. Stephen Piscotty off a big home run Sunday. Baseball comes your way next. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. By Chevrolet. Visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealer for great prices on the all-new 2016 Malibu. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. Thoughts and prayers with those in this area that have been affected with all the rain and the flooding here in the state of Texas and certainly here in Houston. Roof is closed. Dan McLaughlin, Al Raboski, Jim Hayes with you from Minute Maid Park in Houston. It is 73 degrees. Dallas Keuchel, 28-year-old from Tulsa, Oklahoma, 6'3", about 200 pounds, and last year he won the Cy Young Award. This year, though, a different story. As Al mentioned in the open, he is 7-11, got off to a very slow start. Recently, though, Al, pitching much better.
Yeah, he has quality starts in 8 of his last 9. During that time, 4-2, and an ERA of 3.13. We talked about at home a year ago, 15-0 with a 1.46 ERA. Gave up very few home runs, and that's been something that's he's equaled the same amount of home runs that he threw last year. He's already equaled this season, but pitching better, like you said.
Cardinals lineup features Tommy Pham at the top, then Stephen Piscotty, Matt Carpenter, Brandon Moss, Yadier Molina, Johnny Peralta, Jed Jerko, Randal Grichuk swinging a hot bat, local product, and batting ninth, Greg Garcia. The DH will be Peralta. There's a look at A.J. Hinch, the manager of the Astros, as he guided them into postseason play a year ago. 9 of his last 19 hits have gone for extra bases. So the Cardinals trying to catch a little fire here at the top with Tommy Pham. It had been Greg Garcia. Ran into a long over stretch that was snapped on Sunday. And the 1-0 pitch to Pham. Pop back and foul, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Tommy 0 for 2 on the road trip. A road trip that the first stop of 3 in Chicago. The Cardinals hit 9 home runs in those 4 games.
As you might imagine, the right-handers have had better success against Keuchel this year, hitting .267. The lefties just .230, and 15 of the 17 home runs he's given up from right-handed batters.
Say his velocity is down a little bit, but he's not getting the sinking action, and hitters are kind of laying off the fastball and slider, waiting, or the sinker and slider, and waiting for a fastball or changeup.
Pham taps it foul to Chris Maloney. 2 balls and 2 strikes. I miss this rivalry and coming to Houston a couple of times a year, and some of those great battles that the Cardinals had with the Astros. Really, you think about it, in the early 2000s, it was Houston and St. Louis. That was the rivalry in the Central, not the Cubs.
Yeah, there were some good battles. Of course, I saw Biggio and Berkman down on the field today and talked to them. Of course, part of the Killer Bees that the Cardinals had so much fun with, but 2 organizations that were very respectful.
3-2 pitch, laced out to deep left field, and it's off the wall. Pham digging for second base. Standing up, and a leadoff double for Tommy Pham. Now 10 of his last 20 hits have gone for extra bases.
And you could tell by the applause that there's a lot of Redbird fans in the stands. From the Cardinals, or from this area, but Cardinals always, this was a minor league farm team at one time. Houston was, before they got into Major League Baseball. Tommy Pham gets things started here.
Here's Stephen Piscotty, one of the best in baseball with runners in scoring position. We had a 3-run homer in that big 8th inning for the Cardinals against the Cubs on Sunday night. First pitch taken for a strike.
Little 4-game hitting streak, but I won't say he's hot during that. Kind of a misleading 4 for 17, but 2 of those 4 hits were home runs in Chicago.
Here's an 0-1 pitch to Stephen Piscotty. Leads the club in RBIs with 65. Brandon Moss leads the club in home runs with 21.
How about where the first baseman, Marvin Gonzalez, is playing with a right-handed batter up?
The Astros, one of those teams that will shift and shift and shift. Part of the front office moves of Jeff Luhnow, the former Cardinal executive. Then A.J. Hinch, very much one of those managers that will take that data and use it time and again in every kind of count, every type of situation.
Yeah, A.J. Hinch, had a managerial stint with Arizona, and it wasn't very good. Lasted less than 2 years. But he's kind of the right type of modern-day manager for Jeff Luhnow and the analytics department here in Houston.
1-2 the count on Piscotty. Big gap in left center field. And a foul ball. That one caught the catcher Jason Castro, and he's slow to get up. Umpire will clean off the plate.
Whereas Castro and Piscotty have a little bit in common, both of them from Stanford.
Those 2 chatting right now.
Didn't play, they overlap. Castro much older than Piscotty, but I'm sure they'll be teammates in some reunion games.
1 ball, 2 strikes. You'll notice it's no Colby Rasmus in the outfield. He's on the DL. He had a cyst removed from his inner ear, and he said he'd been dealing with dizziness at times for the last 3 or 4 years, and they realized it was a cyst in the ear. They hope to have him back in the middle of September. Former Cardinal.
He tried to play through that quite a while, but his batting average just kept on sinking, so probably the smart thing to do to get it taken care of.
The 2-2 and a strikeout of Piscotty. Missouri Lottery Fox Tracks.
Now a great location with the pitch right there, but really froze Piscotty. Was looking for something soft.
Hyundai pitch arsenal here for Dallas Keuchel. The fastball, the slider, the cutter, and change. And as Al mentioned, velocity has been down, and so that has really affected all his pitches.
Sometimes those secondary pitches aren't quite as effective if your fastball velocity is down.
And a strike to Matt Carpenter.
For instance, a changeup. You know, ideally you would like a 10, 11 miles an hour differential. All of a sudden, everything starts jamming together, your sliders and your fastballs, kind of not that much variance. Everybody can go up there and pretty much look for something hard and stay with that pitch and formula.
A ball and a strike on Carpenter. So Matt is in the third spot in this lineup. Matt Holliday elected to have surgery on his broken thumb, and the Cardinals are hopeful that they would get him back before this season is through. And even with Holliday out, which was in Game 1 against the Cubs, the Cardinals after that hit 7 more home runs in that series. That's pulled foul.
Well, Dan, we're going to have to kind of keep an eye on it, but you know, Carpenter has always wanted to hit in that leadoff spot, and the numbers are dramatic. So much better of a hitter and an MVP candidate when he's in the leadoff spot. And on this road trip where he's been batting in the third hole, he's 3 for 19.
One ball and 2 strikes. Runner at second base is Tommy Pham. Think about postseason play and what gives you hope with this Cardinals offense, which very much is station to station. How many times do you see innings that are strung together with base hits? A lot of times it's that big blast that decides a game, and the Cardinals have had that time and again this year. Carpenter reaches for it, base hit into right field.
Don't run on him.
And Pham held up at third base. That's George Springer in right. Runners at the corners, 2 hits in the inning.
Springer, an outstanding outfielder and defensive player, but he had to hold a little bit to make sure it got through, but you're not going to challenge Springer on even that type of ball. And now with Marisiak out in center field, another excellent defensive player and strong throwing arm. So they say a lot of times on one hoppers to the outfield, center field and right field, that you can't score from second base.
Brandon Moss, 21 home runs to lead the club. Homered in back-to-back games over the weekend, and he's hit home runs in 3 of his last 4. Runners at the corners. First pitch taken for a ball. Well, Brandon Moss is now 13 games off the disabled list, and he has produced 9 extra base hits, 4 home runs.
He's got a 5-game hitting streak, and not only has 3 home runs during that time, but he's hit .350.
He was launching the ball in batting practice down on the field, and seeing him put in at the second deck in right field. It's only .315 down the left field line. Then it jets out to .362 as Moss singles up the middle. 1-0 Cardinals. Carpenter aggressively to third. And Brandon Moss drives in his 51st of the year. 1-0 St. Louis.
He's been outstanding, producing now, getting hits and everything, and very, very comfortable. More playing time. Home runs are still coming, but now he's starting to get on base more frequently with a higher average. And there you see this month what he's done.
Let's a look at your BJC Healthcare difference maker, Brandon Moss. So 3 of the 4 that Keuchel has seen have reached with a double and 2 singles, and now it's Yadier Molina. Was short lead at first, and the first pitch is taken for a ball.
Keuchel made one start against the Cardinals back in 2012, and then he had a relief appearance in 2013. So very few have seen him.
And the 1-0. Hit to the right side. Altuve ranging to his left. Takes the hit away, but a run does score. And that's Carpenter to make it a 2-0 St. Louis lead.
Altuve may be the MVP of the American League. He said in the open he's going to win his second batting title.
That run does not score without that man right there. Carpenter being aggressive going first to third. And he was extremely aggressive on the base hit from Brandon Moss. There was no hesitation.
Think about it, the ball was bouncing up the middle, so he had a clear view of it, saw the distance between the center fielder and the ball going out to center.
You know, and it may seem routine, and I get it, but I still like to see the aggressiveness.
With, you know, with common sense.
Yes.
Because we've run into way too many outs on the base paths. But you're right, there are times when you do have to be aggressive, and it starts with, you know, the base runner thinking aggressively.
Here's Peralta. He is the designated hitter tonight.
Johnny 1 for 12 since on this road trip, trying to get on track. Kind of been a lost season for him. I thought he was starting to get his batting eye back, but obviously his timing is off a bit.
2 balls and 1 strike. Outfield for the most part straight away. Springer pretty shallow in right field. Tony Randazzo is your home plate umpire, calling the balls and strikes. Bill Miller is at first, the crew chief. Todd Titchener at second. Brian Knight is at third. The hitters count here: 3 balls, 1 strike. Jerko on deck. Pulls it foul.
28 pitches already thrown by Keuchel.
While the Cardinals have some issues with injuries in their bullpen, as you get a look at the umpires, Seth Maness done for the year, Tommy John surgery. That announcement made this afternoon. Same can be said with Houston. There's some indecision on who even may close this game out if we get there for the Astros. A 3-2 pitch with 2 outs. Pulled foul.
Remember, the Astros felt like, well, first of all, they got surprised last year. You know, they had 16-game improvement and found themselves in the playoff. But they also found that they didn't have that power arm to close out, so they paid a king's ransom to get Giles from Philadelphia. Traded 5 key players to get him. He's come back today to the roster from paternity leave.
Strikeout of Peralta, second in the inning for Dallas Keuchel. The Cardinals with 3 hits, 2 runs, and an early lead. 17, and in that time frame, they've only scored a total of 21 runs. That's been an issue with this club. Their offense here in 2016. George Springer leads it off, followed by Alex Bergman, then Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa. He is the American League Player of the Week. Marwin Gonzalez, Evan Gattis, Teoscar Hernandez, Jason Castro, and Jake Marisnick. It'll be Jaime Garcia getting the call tonight for the Cardinals. His last 2 starts have been outstanding. Just 2 earned runs in 16 innings.
But those were at home, and he traditionally pitches much better at home than on the road. Same thing can be said this year, and he's always struggled against the Astros.
And that's not the way you want to start. He hits the leadoff man, George Springer. Brings in Alex Bregman. Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs. Pham, Grichuk, Piscotty in the outfield. Then Jerko Garcia on the left side. Carpenter Moss on the right side. Yadier Molina is behind the plate. Bregman, the 2nd overall pick back in 2015 from LSU. He has quite a resume before coming to the big leagues. And a wild pitch.
Not exactly the way you want to start things off after your team gets you 2 runs and you hit a batter and then you throw a wild pitch. He hasn't faced the Astros in quite a while. His last time out was September 25th, 2012, and he pitched good in that game. 7 innings, no earned runs.
That's driven out to deep right, on the move, Piscotty, and it is gone. And just like that, this game is tied.
And it's also
Alex Bregman, his first major league home run.
Yeah, I was going to say that. And to hit it to the opposite field. But they've been waiting for this young man to do that. He's known for his offense. They questioned his glove. He was a shortstop at LSU, and because of what they have here, maybe the best young shortstop in all of baseball, they moved him to third base, but he's been playing much better defensively than offensively, so that's a big load off the Astros, and Alex's mind getting his first major league home run.
Here's Altuve, who leads all of baseball in hits, batting average, and on-base percentage. Alex Bregman came in hitting just 169 in an opposite field home run, and this game is tied at 2.
Altuve 3 for 7 off of Jaime. Remember, they played a 2-game series in St. Louis this year, and the Cardinals lost both of those. Altuve was 3 for 7 off of Jaime in the past. He's already won 1 batting title. He's going to win another.
Base hit to left. So the first 3 have reached off of Jaime Garcia.
And Altuve is 2 hits away from 1,000. And when he gets those other 2 hits, and hopefully it's not tonight, he will become the 2nd fastest player to 1,000 hits. Only Ichiro was quicker.
Among active players.
Among active players.
He would be the fastest, though, in Astros franchise history. But he's been so good. Consider this. On Sunday, he saw a 43-game consecutive reach base streak come to a close. 43 straight on the road. Here's Correa riding a 10-game hitting streak. Man, oh man, what is going on here? Garcia has hit a man, wild pitch. Now that's his 2nd error. He's given up a home run and a single.
Well, Jaime's first 7 starts against Houston in his career. He's 0-5 with an ERA of 8+. And here's the wild pickoff attempt. Altuve really not even trying to steal right there, and so you see Carpenter and Molina trying to get Jaime start concentrating. There's his numbers here at Minute Maid Park.
Well, you think about Altuve and now Correa, 395 during this 10-game hitting streak with 14 RBIs. Longest streak in the big leagues is Mike Napoli of the Indians, 15. And there's a strike.
Correa, the #1 pick overall, and we were here when he was selected by the Astros a couple years ago. High school player out of Puerto Rico. And Molina and Beltran both called him to congratulate him. He was last year's Rookie of the Year in the American League. This kid got off to a real slow start this year too, but his numbers are about the same as he was last year when he won the Rookie of the Year.
82 driven in this season. Altuve, your runner at second base. And the 0-2 pitch from Garcia. 2 earned runs in 16 innings for Jaime Garcia against the Reds and the Braves. The Braves, by the way, will call up Dansby Swanson, the #1 overall pick. He'll be in uniform tomorrow. They traded Eric Ibar to Detroit for a couple of prospects. See Garcia just snap back at that baseball from Molina.
Don't be mad at Molina.
That's tapped foul. Stays 2-2. Houston as a team batting .246, second from the bottom in the American League. They have the most strikeouts, the most caught stealing.
They have the best interleague record since 2015. They're 24-8.
The 2-2. Instead, Garcia steps off the pitching rubber. Marwin Gonzalez is on deck. We were anticipating that one of their top prospects, Yulieski Gurriel, signed a 5-year, $47.5 million deal in July, would be a part of this series. That was the talk, and that's what Jeff Luhnow said, that they did not want to go out and make a trade because they had Gurriel coming up. And he's in a little bit of a funk. He went through a 1-for-15 stretch, so they pushed back that arrival date to probably the weekend or maybe even next week.
Yeah, so instead it was at AA, we've like 2-for-17 at AA, and so they moved him to AAA instead of the big leagues. But probably by the next homestand he'll be here.
3-2 pitch. Little flare hit down the right field line and a foul ball. Arquilla in the driver's seat. So best interleague record since the beginning of last year, 24-8. The Cardinals, interesting this year, winless at home in interleague games. They went 0-7. They still have 3 games remaining with the A's at Busch Stadium. And on the road, they're 5-3. But that kind of sums up what's been the entire year. Playing well on the road, but not so much at home. 3-2 is hit out of play. Cardinals hit about 100 points higher in those interleague games on the road with the DH than they do at home.
Well, they've always had the National League's best DH numbers. The Cardinals that way, and that's all time. But there's what you're talking about, and kind of a microcosm of how poorly they've played at home this year.
3-2 pitch. Hit out of play.
the size of Correa. You know, here's 21-year-old shortstop that just looks huge. This next pitch will be the 10th pitch of the at-bat.
The 3-2 pitch, and he walked him.
Gary Bolequist out to talk to Jaime. On 18 pitches, still looking for his first out.
This is what can be so frustrating when you watch Jaime Garcia. Back-to-back starts in which he's just sensational at home, and then on the road, he's a different pitcher. The numbers tell you that, not just this year, but in his career, as you get a look at the Hyundai pitch arsenal. 2-2 our score. Runners at first and second, nobody out. And it brings in Marwin Gonzalez, signed originally as an international free agent by the Cubs and then picked up by Houston in 2011 in the Rule 5 draft. Showing bunt and pushed it foul.
Left the game with a left knee contusion after being hit by a pitch on Sunday. Over the off day they had yesterday, he was able to get back. He was supposed to be a utility player, kind of bounce around the infield, but they also have one of their top prospects, A.J. Reed's on their bench. He led the minor leagues in home runs a year ago, but he's only batting 162.
Back to Garcia. Thought about going to third, goes to first, and they do get the out. The designated hitter is Evan Gattis.
Well, you have to get an out. So you see the ball bunt back to him. He looks to third, but you have to get an out. So in his mind, he couldn't get it, but he really almost throws this ball away standing flat-footed. You know, you got to take that little crow hop to get your feet underneath you again and get you in line to make a throw.
El Oso Blanco, the nickname here for Evan Gattis, the White Bear.
Yes, it is. He's DHing tonight. You know, remember he was a catcher, first baseman. He was a big prospect, and then took a very long, many delays in the route to get to the big leagues. A little bit of everything, right?
Pops it up. Foul territory, and the catch made by Moss, and a big out. He'd be my #1 pick in a fantasy softball league, Evan Gattis.
Oh, he's a big guy, and I'm just going to throw a little trivia question at him. How many triples do you think Gattis hit last year?
There's a bunch.
11.
Yeah.
11 triples for a guy, what, about 250?
My guess was 12. It was 11. Teoscar Hernandez. One point, any team could have had him. He was exposed to the Rule 5 draft, and no one picked him up. They gave him a bunch of things to work on in winter ball. He did that, and here he is in the big leagues. Lines it into center, and the catch made by Randall Grichuk. Could have been much worse. 2-2 our score. Top of the second. Follow Cardinals baseball live with the MLB.com at bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment. Game day, live game, video highlights, StatCast news, and more. Here's Jed Jerko hitting .248. Slowly hit to third. Bregman makes the play. Mentioned that he is a highly decorated amateur player before he went into pro ball. Freshman of the year at LSU. The Brooks Wallace Award winner, top shortstop in college, two-time All-American, and the first high school player ever to be the player of the year as a sophomore. So you can understand why the expectations are so high with this young man.
And you can also understand with Correa playing shortstop here for Houston, he moves to a new position.
Here's Randall Grichuk. Number of family and friends here tonight.
I think Randall told Jim Hayes that his father had purchased 300 tickets and then was reselling them to any of the family and friends that wanted them.
Wanted to take that pressure off of
Sure.
Randall coming back home.
I was talking to a little bit with Carpenter about, you come back to the place of your roots and you get so many distractions with family and friends. Everybody means well, but sometimes it's easier to play when you're not in your hometown. And it's not like the old days where you had 4 family tickets and 2 friend tickets. It's a different setup now. And
by the way, you will notice even at home, as it gets a little bit darker here in Houston, they have new lighting, LED lighting here at the ballpark, and hitters say it is extremely difficult to hit because hitters cannot pick up the spin or the rotation of the ball. As Grichuk muscles that into shallow left center. A good example would be this. You've got Jose Altuve, who's hitting .424 on the road, .304 here at home. And the players talked about it from the get-go. Now it's just kind of accepted at this point as you're getting late into the season, but very, very bright here at the ballpark.
Yeah. Reminded me of Bob Stinson. He was the catcher that would be called up when Simmons and I would go on reserve duty. And Bob Stinson would go back down to Tulsa. By the way, that's where Keuchel was from. And he would complain of headaches because the lights were too bright in St. Louis.
I think you'd want to deal with those. You're in the big leagues.
Most people did because it was like candlelight power at the old ballpark in Tulsa. You just barely could see. But lights were too bright for Bob Stinson.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Greg Garcia. DH being used, so he's in the 9th position in the lineup. Check swing. Did not go. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And let a ball get deep on you and just poke it a little bit towards the third baseman.
That time he got him. 3rd strikeout for Dallas Keuchel. Garcia back to work. with the injury bug. With more on that and some big names, let's check in with Jim Hayes.
Yeah, Matt Holliday will have surgery tomorrow on that fractured right thumb. Matt met with the surgeon yesterday, and the decision was made. According to Mike Matheny, surgery was the only option that gave Matt a chance to make it back and play this season. Mike says there is no timetable, just that Matt wants to play. And you guys mentioned Seth Maness. He will have Tommy John surgery on Thursday. Seth dealt with elbow inflammation early in the season. According to Mike Matheny, it hasn't felt right all year. He says Seth got to a point, even though he was pitching well, he had to do something. Sam Tuivailala was called up from Memphis to take Seth's spot, guys.
All right, thank you, Jim. And here is Jason Castro, followed by Jake Marisnick, and then George Springer. 3-0 the count.
I mentioned that Jaime had not pitched against the Astros, I said, since September 2012. That's here in Houston. He pitched earlier in St. Louis and lost the ball game to the Astros. He pitched well in that ball game. The bullpen had their problems.
Pitched into the 7th, and then it was a late home run to hit off of Kevin Segrist. Cost the Cardinals in that game. 3-2. Boy, the injuries just piling up, and it's not just to, you know, guys that are called up and maybe not mainstays. This is Aledmys Diaz, Tyler Lyons, Michael Wacha, Matt Adams, Matt Holliday, and that's all in this month alone.
Yeah, it's just crazy what's happened in August.
Pitch taken upstairs, and that's a ball. Second walk issued by Jaime Garcia. So Maness, Tommy John, Tuivailala is back up. Holliday will have surgery. Cardinals hopeful he'll return at the end of the year. Castro just 2 steals on the season. He's at first. Here's Marisnick.
And we saw Marisnick a little bit with the Miami Ball Club. Very good defensive ball player. Carlos Gomez designated for assignment, so Marisnick will get more playing time.
Garcia, nice play out there. That's all they'll get. Marisnick runs well. There's one away. Let's take a look at Al's Toyota keys to the game.
Well, Jaime needs to go 6. When Jaime goes 6 innings or gets through the 6th inning, he's 8-2 with a 2.31 ERA, and the Cardinals are 9-3. When he doesn't get through the 6th inning, he is 1-6 with a 6.62 ERA, nearly 2 runners per inning, and the Cardinals are just 3-8. So with a tough first inning, he's thrown 31 pitches to this point. He still can be very efficient and get through 6.
First pitch popped up and fouled back. George Springer hit by a pitch. Came around to score the 2-run homer by Alex Bregman. Springer, first-round pick in 2011 out of the University of Connecticut. 11th overall.
That'd be a baseball factory, isn't it?
A little chilly.
I was going to say, you
baseball there.
I wonder how many. I wonder if they get more than 10 games a year.
Cold.
But he's a good one.
One out, runner at first. Runner goes, went back to first, and then MOLINA firing to Moss. More and more teams are running on, YADIER MOLINA. However, it's not an indication of how he's throwing. It's more of an indication of the times that the opposition is getting on pitchers. And Garcia, going all the way back to spring training, had issues throwing over to first and dealing with runners at first.
that's reared its ugly head here tonight.
And sometimes too, Dan, you know, that pitcher will get out there and pay so much attention to the runner over at first, thinking he's going to go, that he splits that concentration coming home and makes careless pitches to the plate. Ball behind the count. A dangerous hitter becomes even more dangerous. And Springer is hitting 7 of his last 8 games at a .344 clip. 23 home runs, 68 RBIs for a leadoff hitter.
And it's a walk for Garcia. Number 3 already tonight, number 2 in this inning, and he has not been sharp from the get-go. It's one of those nights where you hope he gets a double play here and then somehow, some way regroups, figures out release point, and gets in a groove.
That's it. I mean, so often you can get yourself out of a jam by throwing that ground ball double play, and that's something, when he's right, he gets a lot of ground ball double plays.
Little chopper hit up the middle and boxed by Garcia.
Ball was not hit hard enough to be a double play and very easily could be a base hit. Right off the end of the bat, kind of a check swing, bounce over the mound, kind of a do or die play for Garcia, and he can't make the play.
It'll be an error on Garcia, number 5. And so now it extends the inning to Altuve.
Altuve, the last 2 years, has had the highest average against left-handed pitching in the game.
Bases loaded. Altuve out in front, popped up on the infield. That is a huge out. Garcia with the catch, and there's 2 down.
Like infield fly rule called there, and you're absolutely right. Altuve, boy, he'll be talking to himself about that one.
Bases loaded for Correa. Well, you go back to the first inning, Gattis had runners at second and third, 1 out. He popped out, then Hernandez lined out. Now in this situation, bases loaded, 1 out. Altuve, the pop-up on the changeup. Let's see if Garcia can't get Correa. An 11-pitch first at bat for the Astros shortstop.
Very good numbers with the bases loaded. Still looking for his first grand slam, and hopefully we'll be seeing that tomorrow.
Marisnick, Springer, Bregman all aboard.
Well, we hope everybody's enjoying American League Baseball.
Well, you're getting it right now, huh?
Yeah, exactly right. Great pace of play.
Bases loaded, 2 outs, 1 ball, no strikes. And now time called by Molina. Went with another off-speed pitch. Seen a lot of changeups early on here from Jaime Garcia.
Well, when you got as young an offensive club as the Astros have, that changeup is a great pitch for him to use. And we saw how effective it was against Altuve, but you've got to be able to get it in the strike zone enough to sell it. High of 91.
Here's a 2-0 pitch. 3-0. They have just changed the ruling for Bregman and the Greg Garcia error to a base hit. So an infield hit 3-0, bases loaded.
Thought they might do that, and especially for a young hitter to trying to get his numbers better.
Three and one. Just caught the strike zone.
But
Missouri Lottery Fox tracks.
You know, when you've already walked 3 and thrown a wild pitch and on a wild pickoff throw, you're rarely going to get those borderline pitches.
And hit him in. 3-1. Now 3-2. Can he battle back to get him? Big at bat right here. Big pitch coming up. We'll do it again.
Not only Correa was last year's American League Rookie of the Year, he is the second youngest player in all of baseball and already a star.
Seventh pitch of this plate appearance. 44 pitches. Number 18 to Correa, and he struck him out. First strikeout, and what a big one for Jaime Garcia. Fell behind 3-0. Comes back to get him with a breaking ball and no argument from the Astros shortstop. St. Louis Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price every day. And by your local Volkswagen dealer. Astros established back in 1962 as the Colt 45s. That was the same year that the New York Mets came into existence. 1965, they changed their name to the Astros to reflect Houston's role in the space program at that time, and then they moved into the Astrodome as well.
The Colt 45 Stadium was in the parking lot of the Astrodome, and they used to say that, you know, ball players take their gloves and their helmets and their bats. Well, you needed one other thing: a can of mosquito spray. Right by those canals by the Astrodome, and they said they had mosquitoes there that were just like, you know, about the size of your fist. No Zika virus then.
2-2 on Tommy Pham, who doubled to start this game.
Maybe that, and then you also needed oxygen with the heat. Playing outside, and they created the 8th wonder of the world, the Astrodome.
Two-two pitch to Pham. And a strikeout. We're seeing that call from Tony Randazzo on both sides. It's been a strike zone that's higher. Normally accustomed to seeing.
But you can see, according to Fox Tracks, it's right at the top of the strike zone. But you're right, Dan, that a lot of times you don't get that pitch at the top of the strike zone.
He is retired 6 in a row, and it brings in Stephen Piscotty. Piscotty pops it up a mile high. Going out Correa, the shortstop. And he makes the play. Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs. Hernandez, Marisnick, Springer in the outfield. Bregman, Correa on the left side of the infield. Altuve and Gonzalez on the right side. And Jason Castro is behind the plate.
That pop-up made me think of the advent of AstroTurf, because when they first went into the Astrodome, it was a opaque ceiling to grow grass, because it had grass in there, and the players could not see pop-ups. They couldn't follow their flight, and it was too scary that they'd lose with all the girdering and the window panes on the roof. And so then they said, okay, we gotta paint it. So they painted the tiles, and the grass died. So Monsanto created what they call AstroTurf, because it went in, the product went into the Astrodome.
Hence
AstroTurf.
There you go. 1 ball, 1 strike. Carpenter with a base hit to right on a 2-strike pitch. Came around to score. The ground out by Yadier Molina. The 2-1. Off the end of the bat, Keuchel, who is a 2-time Gold Glover, steps and throws and makes the play. So he is settled in. That's 8 in a row. Midway through 3, tied up at 2. Nine hits tonight. You're invited into Krispy Kreme tomorrow. Receive a dozen of their original glazed donuts for only $3.99. And stop by one of the 4 St. Louis area Krispy Kremes for this sensational deal. Marwin Gonzalez, Evan Gattis, and Teoscar Hernandez. huge strikeout, first of the night. Carlos Correa with the bases loaded back in the second to end that threat. Let's just see if Garcia can't settle in.
Yeah, he threw an off-speed pitch when he came back from 3-0 and got him.
Two our score. There's a good off-speed pitch there, the changeup.
You know, when you talk to a lot of people around the Astros and they were talking about Garcia, all they talking about, still got that good changeup. You know, he's got good stuff when he keeps the ball down, and obviously pitching ahead in the count helps.
0-2 pitch. Astros started this season 17-28. And since May 22nd, 44-29, and that's driven out to deep left field. And the Astros go on top of a long home run. Marwin Gonzalez, his 11th of the year.
That reached the railroad tracks up above the Crawford boxes. And Dan, we've done too many games in this stadium to know that when a guy takes a swing like that and it's headed towards left field, it's gone.
Yep.
11 home runs. Garcia, when he's right, he gets ground balls. Both these pitchers are good ground ball pitchers when they're on their game.
He has 2 ground ball outs tonight. Long way to go for Piscotty, and makes the catch off the bat of Evan Gattis. Back to the home run, number 11, RBI number 33 for Gonzalez.
See the ball up over the middle of the plate. He knew it as soon as he put that swing on it, and up on the railroad tracks.
Think about a ball that goes above the railroad tracks. Hard not to think about Pujols' dramatic home run in the NLCS of 2005. Teoscar Hernandez lined out to center and looks at a strike.
I think Brad Lidge has nightmares. Thinks about that shot. And Albert, it's sweet dreams.
Mammoth home run hit by Albert Pujols. This home run sent the Cardinals back to game number 6 as he crushed it. Roy Oswalt then shut down the Cardinals, and then shut down Busch Stadium too.
04 and 05. You know, those battles with Houston and the Killer Bees were a lot of fun. Both teams had so much respect for each other.
2-1 pitch, lifted into right. There goes Piscotty, and he'll make the catch. Steven will be part of our speaker series next week. We have a luncheon series with Steven Piscotty. He'll be our featured guest next Wednesday. Get those tickets at cardinals.com/events. And next Monday we'll be celebrating the 06 team. Monday night's an off day for the club, and tickets are at cardinals.com/events for both those programs. Here's Jason Castro. 2 outs and nobody on. Ground ball out in front of the plate. Molina pounces on it. Throws a strike to Brandon Moss. Home run by Gonzalez. His 11th. 2 home runs given up by Garcia. Stros on top. here at Minute Maid Park, and let's check in with Jim.
Dan, Kevin Segrist was pulled from his last relief appearance. Mike Matheny saying it was precautionary. Kevin had been dealing with, he described as a dead arm feeling, and Mike got him out of there. Today, Segrist told me it's really just tightness around his pitching shoulder, and he doesn't believe it's anything too serious. He said a couple of days of rest should help him out. And then there's Lance Lynn. Better news. Got his first rehab start yesterday, threw an inning and 2/3 for Class A Palm Beach, and told me he felt great and the fastball was, quote, coming along nicely. Sometimes recovery from that first rehab can be tricky, Dan, but Lance told me, I woke up this morning feeling delightful as ever, and that's a good sign, Dan.
And here is Brandon Moss. And Jim, when you talk to Lance, does he anticipate that maybe at some point he would pitch in the major leagues here in 2016?
Well, he had told me that the possibility of coming back in September was always out there. That was part of his timetable, but he knew then, as he knows now, there was a lot of work ahead. So it's a great start for Lance, but he knows everything has to fall in place for that to happen. I think he'd like that, Dan. All
right, thank you, Jimmy. Here's Brandon Moss with an RBI single to center field. Now up to 51 driven in. Wouldn't that be something if Lance Lynn could contribute here in 2016?
Well, it's something that I know he's talked to both of us about. You know, remember in spring training, kind of thinking that, well, we'll worry about him next year in spring training. And he said, no, you know, I'll be throwing late in the season.
Little chopper here to the right side. Altuve makes the play. Can't see us on TV? Follow us on your tablet or your smartphone. Fox Sports Go, the app to take in Cardinals baseball.
Usually a 12 to 15 month recovery time to come back from Tommy John surgery. And
well, the question then would be, if he comes back, what role does he have?
Relief.
And then in that regard, where does he go? This time will tell.
Yeah, and I mean, right now it's kind of exciting when you think about, you know, Reyes and Tuivalala, another hard thrower who's come to the big league camp now, or big leagues. Get a chance to see them, and really probably for extended period of time with Manus out.
Here's a 1-1. Hit slowly left side. Bregman makes the play.
All right, Keuchel's starting to get into that groove. He's getting these ground balls. All the hitters are off balance, not, you know, out on their front foot.
It's 10 in a row. Here's Johnny Peralta, the designated hitter. Inside.
Keuchel pitches from the third base side of the right rubber so he can go in on these right-handed batters. Good curveball here. See all left-handers throw across their body to some degree. And so when coming to a right-handed hitter, he just kind of hides the ball well.
Breaking ball taken low, 2-2. And he got him. Swung through it. Strikeout number 5 for Dallas Keuchel. Of Major League Baseball is presented by T-Mobile. Giancarlo Stanton is going to miss the remainder of this season out with a leg issue, so he's done, and that is a huge loss for Miami. They are tied right now with the Cardinals for that second and final wild card spot. There had been talk that maybe even they would add Alex Rodriguez, potentially bring him back to his hometown. A-Rod said he's not going to play this year. So both clubs 62 and 56, 3.5 back of LA.
And after 7, the Miami Marlins trail 6-2 to Cincinnati. But the Cardinals got to battle back in this one.
4 teams, by the way, within 3 games of that second wild card spot. Cardinals, Marlins, Pirates, and Mets. That's pulled fair and down into the corner. MARISNICK on his way to second base. And a leadoff double. One for 2 on the night.
Set up away. Ball down and in. Just drops that bat head and just rifles it right past Jerko into the left field corner. No official at bat yet. Hit by pitch and a walk.
Astros so far 2 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Strike 1. Dodgers are still without Clayton Kershaw. He can come back in September, but has not pitched since mid-June. And the rotation recently lost Brandon McCarthy. Cardinals, 5 players gone in August. Miami, Stanton done for the year. And I think interestingly enough is Pittsburgh. They make the trades of Liriano, Jonathan Neese back to the Mets, Liriano to Toronto, Melanson, outstanding closer, goes to Washington, and yet they're starting to play pretty good baseball.
Yeah. Hurdle's got him not worrying about who's left, but who's there, and you know it's got still have some pitching. Rotation can be strong.
Runner at second is MARISNICK. Now time is called. No balls and 2 strikes. Kubota power stats. Springer 23 home runs, their leadoff man. Al talked about that earlier. Leads their club in home runs. Altuve with 19, then Correa, Gattis both with 18. Valbuena, who's on the DL, with 13.
And Altuve with 19 home runs, new career high for him.
Here's a 1-2. So without Seth Maness, who's injured, Segrist at this point, you don't know if he'd pitch in this series. You probably put a greater importance on the role of Alex Reyes to try to get to Seung-Hwan Oh.
Yeah, it seems that's the case. Is he's now they're taking the reins off him and going to use him in more tight situations late in the ball game. And
Grounder that's hit to short. Garcia over to first and staying put at second base. MARISNICK.
And obviously, from what we've seen from Reyes, is that he's throwing. It really doesn't matter if it's lefty or righty.
Alex Bregman. You also think about Zach Duke and what he can bring to the table late in games. And I think the other guy that comes to mind too, Matt Bowman, who has taken on a
bigger role,
a greater role in this bullpen.
He did a great job on Sunday night, escaping a bases loaded jam.
Good breaking ball in for strike 1.
Are you a little surprised they didn't bring back Keycapper?
I think there's any doubt, though, we'll see him in September for sure.
Definitely in September, but to balance out and give you a second left-hander if Segrist is going to be out for these couple days.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. Popped up to the right side. Moss in foul territory. It's playable, and it drops. Already in this game, we've had the wild pitch, then an error on Garcia on a pickoff. Greg Garcia on what could have been charged an error. Initially it was, and now this play that should be made.
Well, you see, I just kind of believe that Moss may have lost it in the roof, but Scotty got to keep. It's much easier coming in on that ball than kind of going back and looking up.
And 0-2 the count. It really has been one of the most frustrating aspects of this club in 2016. You think about the bench. John Mozeliak said we need to improve that, and man, have they improved it by leaps and bounds. It's one of the best benches in baseball in terms of the pinch hitters and what they do. Sometimes when the pitching staff, in terms of the starters, is on a roll, then you see a little blow up from the back end, or vice versa. But consistently, the defense just has not been where we've seen it in the past.
Defense has been poor, and and it's not always the errors that are recorded. It's plays that are not made, double plays that you just get one out instead of two. And we've seen some very poor base running, run into so many outs on the base paths. It's just not the typical team, but yet everything that goes wrong with this team is easily correctable. And yet, as we mentioned, the team right now is standing there in a tie for the second wild card.
2-2 pitch. Don't want to lose him here. He has walked 3. He's hit a man. Got Altuve on deck.
He's 2 for 2. He's going to be win the second batting title of his young career, Altuve.
Chopped foul. For 9 with a full count in his young career. League average 213.
I think we could say you can look at any stat prior to today is not very good.
How to play again.
And then batting 169, no home runs, just 4 RBIs, and a 2-run home run to the opposite field the first time up, and an infield single the second time up.
Three-2 pitch. High fly ball out to deep right. That'll stay in the ballpark as the catch is made by Piscotty. Runner tags. Marisnick from second to third. His base hit back in the first inning puts him 2 shy of 1,000 hits in his career. Active players. Fewest games to reach 1,000 hits. Ichiro 696. Then Pujols, Braun, Mauer, and Holiday.
You can see he's playing 786 games, so he'll be second on that list, as it will happen. Hate to say it, but probably in our series. But he's a good one, and just a great story. Signed as a 16-year-old from Venezuela. But that's just part of the story. He went to a tryout camp. They took one look at him and said, we're not looking for bat boys. They sent him home. Came back the next day. They sent him home. Came back the third day, and they said, okay, well, we'll see what you can do. And they signed him, and one of the best young players trying to win his second batting championship.
Good curveball.
Silver Slugger awards, and many people believe he's one of the leading candidates for the MVP of the American League. Smallest player in the game today.
It's be the 5th straight year that he leads the Astros in hits. And the 0-2 pitch. Lines it into right. Piscotty coming on and can't make the catch. Run scores. And it's now a 4-2 Houston lead. And he's one shy of 1,000.
So close from making that a great defensive play. Dives for it, but can't hold on to the ball, and ball scoots out. 999th hit. There you see it right there. In the glove and out of the glove. His 74th RBI and a career high 19 home runs he's hit this year for Altuve.
Here's Correa, who's seen 17 pitches in this game. 17 of the 73 thrown by Garcia. Oh, by the way, Altuve also has 26 steals. Two outs and a runner at first, and another check on Altuve.
Correa, just the second Astro to ever win a Rookie of the Year. The first one was Jeff Bagwell.
Jammed him. Ground ball that's hit to second, and Carpenter steps on the bag. A 2-out RBI base hit to right. That scores Marisnick. 4-2 Astros. Chase Utley would like to return for at least one more year in Dodger blue. Back in Philly. He had so many great years there.
Good ball player, wasn't he?
Yep, still is.
Still is, yeah. I mean to end his career, but
Jed Jerko leads it off and looks at a strike. 11 in a row set down by Dallas Keuchel. Keuchel, a 7th-round pick in 2009 out of Arkansas. He was teammates and also roommates with Drew Smyly. Very good big leaguer in his own right.
was at a speaking engagement last year. And it might have been this year, but it was in Claymore, Oklahoma. Met his father, suburb of Tulsa.
I'm sure his dad's pretty proud.
Very proud. I think everyone in Tulsa is pretty proud of him too. Rightfully so.
Won the Cy Young last year, 3rd in Astros history, the first since Roger Clemens back in 2004. Mike Scott also won that back in 1986. That swung on and missed by Jerko, 2 in a row and 6 tonight. We have a strikeout for Dallas Keuchel. He went 20-8 last year. ERA of 2.48, 232 innings, and some believe that may have cost him coming into this season. The workload that he had last year, only 51 walks, winning the Cy Young and the Gold Glove, his 2nd Gold Glove of his career. Chance of let's go Randall here at the ballpark.
I'll hear that, Dave.
Nope.
That grew up about 30 minutes from the ballpark.
Senior year in high school, he had 24 home runs, which was the most in the United States that senior year.
And that's why he was drafted by the Angels ahead of Mike Trout. I was looking at Keuchel in 2013. Keuchel threw 153 and 2/3 innings. In 14, it was 200 innings on the nose, and then 232 last year.
And the 1-2 is lined out to left field. It's cut off by Hernandez. Grichuk on his way to second and save. 1-out double for Randall Grichuk. Another aspect of his game, good speed.
And Hernandez had a pretty good throwing arm, so add a 3rd arm down there. But he had to leave the batter's box thinking too, and he's putting a show on, and he's going to run as hard as he can right there, and he needed every bit of that speed to be safe at second base. Hernandez got there, cut it off, and gets the ball back in quickly. Just a little offline, or he would have been thrown out. Like to see that hustle.
And a ball taken by Garcia. Called on strikes. Back in the 2nd. That double by Grichuk. Snaps a string of 12 straight set down by Keuchel.
Greg getting playing time every day because of good defense.
Rounds it to the right side. Altuve. There's 2 outs.
He advances runner, but
Sunday, August 28th, 30,000 fans ages 16 and older receive a replica batting practice hat. Compliments of Monsanto. Get your tickets. August 28th, the Cards and the Oakland A's. Cardinals.com/promotions. There's Tommy Pham, who's 1 for 2 with a double. Run scored and was called out on strikes back in the 3rd. He represents the tying run.
kind of pick this one up.
Cardinals average just below 6 runs a game on the road. 5th highest average for a Cardinals team since 1913. Meanwhile, the Astros have the best home ERA. And the 1-0 pitch.
I remember at one time when they first opened up this ballpark, you know, it was a pitcher's nightmare. And a lot of the Astros pitchers hated pitching here because of so small dimensions, particularly left field.
3-0. Stephen Piscotty is on deck. So something's got to give with the offense of the Cardinals, best in the National League on the road. Astros at home, very good pitching. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Fortunately, usually good pitching stops good hitting.
From 3-0 to now 3-2.
I said this year that Keuchel was having trouble with runners in scoring position.
And Tommy Pham cracks one out to deep right field. Springer is back at the wall. We are tied. Tommy Pham on a 3-2 delivery delivers a 2-run homer, and we're tied 4-4.
It's the 18th home run that Keuchel was allowed this year. That's one more than he did all last year winning the Cy Young. And very few here at his home ballpark. As I said, he's had a little trouble with men in scoring position, and right on cue, Pham hits his 9th home run of the year.
And a strike to Piscotty.
Pham, we've seen him hit balls to the opposite field out. We've seen him pull him down the line. Put a charge in that one.
0-2 the count on Stephen Piscotty. And yanks it foul.
And with Holiday out at least for several weeks, you know, it's really key for Piscotty and Pham and Grichuk to do some damage out there.
The 0-2 pitch again. Taken high. Pitches by inning for Dallas Keuchel.
1st and 5th. Times he's running a little trouble.
Gets him to chase and just got a piece of it.
Cardinals scored 2 runs on 3 hits in the first frame. Pham had a double to lead off this ball game, and then now here in the 5th, the 2-run home run by Tommy Pham.
Here's a 1-2. Inside corner and struck him out. Piscotty 0 for 3. Tommy Pham a double to left center. And moments ago, an opposite field 2-run homer to tie it up. One swing of the bat. Brand new game. Salute the career of Hall of Famer Bob Gibson. That day, 30,000 fans, 16 and older, receive a Bob Gibson red jacket statue. Add that to your collection, courtesy of Scott Credit Union. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. The pitch taken a little low. 4-4 our score here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Gonzalez, solo home run back in the 3rd. Then Evan Gattis and Teoscar Hernandez.
Your life behind me, see if he can't just go as long and hard in this game.
1-1 pitch. There's no doubt. I mean, we say usually, well, from the first pitch, this guy struggled, that guy struggled. It has been a battle tonight from the first pitch for Jaime Garcia. But at times, that pitch has bailed him out. It's been a good changeup.
Really, even that though, he's leaving it up, and I'd like to think you know, after 79 pitches, you can get the ball down.
Breaks his bat and a fly ball into shallow left center field. The catch made by Tommy Pham. I didn't know what I would think of the wild card when it was first introduced to baseball, and now more than ever in a year like this, I love it.
Oh, sure.
But I really have grown to appreciate it, keep the fan bases interested. Every game with meaning now down the stretch for so many teams.
And the second wild card, you know, now that you have that play-in game, just tells you don't want to be the wild card. But you get there, you always got a chance. But it was almost too easy before they added the second wild card for a wild card team to run the gauntlet.
I think most would agree there has to be a reward for winning your division, and not that there's a penalty for getting into postseason play, but if you're a wild card, more times than not, if it lines up properly in that play-in game, you're using your ace.
Right.
So your number one is going to be used maybe once in a 5-game series after that. 1-1 pitch, taken low. Mike Matheny's first year saw the Cardinals face the Atlanta Braves and then dramatic fashion win Game 5 against the Nationals and then go up 3-1 against the Giants, and then the Giants came back to win that series. 2-1 pitch. They talk about here in Houston that the designated hitter, whomever that may be for that particular game that night, that day, they just have not hit home runs. They've not gotten a lot of production out of their DHs.
What did they say, 11 home runs?
And right on cue, Evan Gattis hits it out to left, but it stays in the ballpark. Off the end of the bat.
They've even broke the bat. It didn't have that, had the sound of a broken bat, but you can see how close that Crawford box seats are and that big high wall where a lot of people can play it off there.
Don't miss St. Louis's biggest office party and the workplace wellness event of the year. BizDash is Thursday, September 15th. You can join in the fun by visiting stlbizdash.com. Hernandez has lined out and flied out, 0 for 2. Big sweeping breaking ball taken high and outside.
His very first game over the weekend, he hit a home run and another base hit against Liriano. That was on Friday. Started the season Double-A, Hernandez, and then went to Triple-A. Combined to hit .307, 28 doubles, 10 home runs, 53 RBIs in 100 games, 107 games.
Good changeup. Chevy Fox Tracks.
A little more consistent in getting that ball down and keeping it on the corners with the changeup.
And the breaking ball is lined foul. A two-run homer in the first by Bregman to tie the game. Solo home run by Gonzalez in the third. A two-out RBI base hit by Altuve put the Astros on top 4-2. Cardinals have come back to tie it up. Two-run homer on a 3-2 pitch by Tommy Pham. Cincinnati wins over Miami 6-3. So this game grows with even more importance. 2-2, and that swung on and missed. Second strikeout for Jaime Garcia. We played 5 and we're tied up 4-4. Class is coming up. That'll be August 27th, not too far away at Fox Sports Live at Ballpark Village. It's open to the public, and we'll congratulate Sam Braden, Terry Moore, Joe Torre, Chris Carpenter, all headed to the Cardinals Hall of Fame, presented by Edward Jones. Carpenter leads it off, followed by Moss and Molina. Carpenter with a base hit. Single to right, scored in the first inning. You don't see a lot of starting pitchers wearing number 60. That is the case with Dallas Keuchel, issued to him by the Astros clubhouse staff. He wore number 57 in the minors. That number has an awful lot of significance with the Cardinals and Houston. It was given to him by Paul Burgess, longtime minor league equipment man. He told him, "You're one of my favorites. You'll wear this with class." 57 was the number that was worn by Darryl Kyle. And obviously, when he got to the big leagues, they're not going to issue number 57. So he took number 60 and said, "I'm just happy to be in the big leagues." The strike zone is expanded here on Carpenter on both those strikes. With 2 strikes, the infield shifts to the right side.
DK in 57. Honored here as well as in St. Louis. Darryl Kyle.
The 2-2 pitch. Held up by Carpenter. Count runs full. Pat Neshek, the former Cardinals reliever and all-star in his lone season in St. Louis, getting loose in the pen. 3-2 pitch. Carpenter yanks it foul.
Well, he hit that one off his belt buckle.
But you can understand with a strike zone that's been erratic in this at bat, he feels like he's got to protect.
And he was protecting that ball inside too. He was talking about before the game how much he's enjoying being a father.
And that just missed. That may have been better than the 2 strikes.
I agree with you right there. As look at these pitches all over the place, and that was outside, but it did look awfully good.
A leadoff walk here in the top of the 6th, and it brings in Brandon Moss. RBI single to center field in the 1st inning, and also grounded out to 2nd. Reminder that tomorrow is a day game. Will come your way at 12:30 as Moss lifts one foul and out of play. Carlos Martinez 10-7 against Doug Fister 11-7. 12:30 with the pregame show, 1:10 with our first pitch. That's our Budweiser. What's on tap? The oddity of this schedule then has another off day in Philly, and then 3 over the weekend with the Phillies. Go back home. Monday's an off day.
Yeah, I mean, it's just.
But I get the chance to visit with the 06 team on Monday night. Looking forward to that.
Good for you, but you know, sometimes you would think they could space those 3 off days a little better. You know, so many times now it'll be an off day on a travel day for the team. And then here you get a couple off days on the road. You know, not like having off days in the middle of a homestand where guys can enjoy their family. And I think a lot of it's because of these interleague games, and then caused by some of these 2-game sets too.
Two balls and 2 strikes.
Are you a fan of the interleague games?
It's wearing off for me.
To me, it's, you know, and the Cardinals with such a storied history, every time they play somebody, you could find some, you know, history and related where it kind of makes it interesting, but doesn't do much for me.
Seeing the Milwaukee Brewers 18 times doesn't do a lot for me either. No disrespect to Milwaukee or Cincinnati, Chicago, Pittsburgh, but
some of them we get to play 19, even more.
You play so much within your own division.
Yeah, and you know, for
Moss, base hit, right field. Carpenter on his way to 3rd. Runners at the corners for the Cardinals, and it brings in YADIER Molina.
The natural rivalries, it just doesn't do a lot. Now they got an RBI back in the 1st inning on a ground out. Here he has runners at 1st and 3rd, nobody out.
That'll be it for Keuchel. Pat Neshek had been throwing in the pen. Looks like he'll come in to face YADIER Molina. An even 100 pitches for Dallas Keuchel here tonight. He had made the motion to bring in Pat Neshek. So that's it for the Cy Young Award winner of a season ago. The former Cardinal Neshek is coming on when we come back. It's our Chevy called to the pen. Indianapolis. It is Pat Neshek. Fastball slider. Really developed a changeup with the Cardinals a couple of years ago. Now 35 years of age. Made his debut all the way back in 2006 when he was with Minnesota. Been with the Twins, the Padres, the A's, the Cardinals, and now Houston. All-star campaign back in 2014, and he's in a jam now. Runners at first and third. Nobody out. And the batter is Yadier Molina.
Right-handed hitters only batting 128 against him. He's really doing his second year with the Astros. Had a good year going last year, but kind of wore out his control a little bit at the end, but he had reasons. He fractured his right foot in spring training last year, but he pitched all year with it and then had it surgically repaired in the offseason and having a very good year again this year.
We talked about it when he was in St. Louis. He's got the odd delivery, developed that after being struck in the forearm with a ball in high school. He then began to throw sidearm and played shortstop due to the injury. When it healed, he couldn't get back to throwing normally. So he just kept this delivery, and it's worked out for him quite well.
How did he throw as a shortstop?
You'd have to ask him. There's an out at the plate, and scoring, Matt Carpenter. Scoring from third on the ground out by Molina. Nice play by Gonzalez to take the hit away. And with that, the Cardinals go back on top. It's 5-4.
Got his second RBI, 37 on the year for the Cardinal catcher.
What a play by Gonzalez, just to even make that close. Good job by Carpenter off with contact.
There you go, just shooting that ball the right side, the ball up and in, and Yachty doing a little coaching and ducking at the same time.
Tough night for Johnny Peralta. 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts and looks at strike one. Hitting .237 with runners in scoring position. Moss is at second base in the 0-1. Lifted out to center. This ball will drop. And Moss will be held up at third. Throw is cut off by Gonzalez. Little blue base hit off the bat of Peralta. And in steps Jed Jerko.
You're right about that. If they would have got good wood, it would have carried out to center field, but right towards the end of the bat, just a little bloop in front of the center fielder. He's with that good throwing arm. Chris Maloney, the third base coach, holds up Moss and give Jerko a try here.
Runners at first and third. You know, Neshek loves that slider, but with his delivery, sometimes you get the cement mixer that just spins and doesn't do a lot. Matt Bowman is throwing in the Cardinals' pen.
The Frisbee.
Avid autograph collector and baseball card collector. Actually now, since he left St. Louis, has created and runs his own website for fans to interact and talk about collecting autographs. One ball, one strike.
Who was it that switched numbers?
I believe it was John Lackey.
Yeah, that's right. And then Lackey was kind enough to give him a Babe Ruth ball, wasn't it? Card, autograph card of Babe Ruth.
Two-one pitch. Lifted in the air. Deep center field. This ball is gone! Three-run homer! Jed Jerko. He launches that baby. And the Cardinals extend their lead with the long home run off the bat of Jerko, number 18.
That's his third home run of the road trip for Jerko. His 18th home run overall. RBIs up to 40. And boy, you get that, his arms extended and getting hit in his range. This ball had plenty as it reaches the second deck.
Eight to 4 now, Cardinals. Closes the book on Keuchel as he gives up 6 of the 8.
Neshek's numbers are taking a beating tonight. Right-handed batters had a 174 on base percentage and a 186 slugging percentage before this bomb. Got away from him, a full extension, and his third home run of the road trip.
That's the other thing with his delivery too. Right-handed batters, as I've always talked about, you can't give up on a pitch on the outside corner with Neshek because it tails back in. Submarine delivery. Ball was crushed. Good example there. That ball tailing back in on Randal Grichuk.
So 6 runs are charged to Keuchel, and the last 2 to Neshek.
Alex Reyes is now throwing in the Cardinals' pen. Here's the 0-2 pitch.
We were talking about he's passed the test in his first 3 major league relief appearances. Now the reins are off. You're going to start seeing him in higher leverage, more important outings. I think we're all excited to see that tonight.
Pitch taken high. Randal Grichuk 1 for 2 with a double into left. Reaching for it. Hit down the right field line in foul territory and sliding, but not making the play. Springer, great effort. Some of the fans booing that particular fan that reached over, it looked like. And through all the struggles tonight for Jaime Garcia, a chance at a win potentially. See Springer not happy with the fans at all down that right field line. That's why.
But in fairness, you know, if you're going to have those low fences, you're going to have to expect that some are going to reach over and, you know, potentially take a ball away. An umpire can rule that it would have been caught, but not on a sliding effort like that.
Chris Stavinsky, a right-hander, getting loose in the pen for Houston. 2-2 the count on Randal Grichuk. Got him with the slider. So strikeout of Grichuk. Out number 2.
Neshek had pitched 3 games prior to tonight against the Cardinals, but had to be earlier in his career. So I think this is the first time we've seen Neshek since he left the Cardinals.
Security now talking to the fans. They're really in a good mood. Here's the 0-1.
Now the fans are booing security. If you don't want it to happen, raise the wall.
Good to see that Dog the Bounty Hunter is finding work in his offseason. Get him and they bring him from Hawaii. There's a changeup and a strikeout of Garcia. The Cardinals with a couple of home runs tonight and a long one moments ago off the bat of Jed Jerko. 18th home run. The StubHub app. Not only will you find seats you'll love whenever you want, you can find the best seat for your buck when you sort by the best value. So get the StubHub app today. So Jaime Garcia, who would have thought this, the way that this game started? For those of you that just joined us, fairly ugly start to this game. He hit the first man, then threw a wild pitch, then it was a 2-run homer, and this game was tied 2-2. Right after that, a base hit, then a walk. But here he is pitching into the 6th inning. Give him some credit for getting back on track and pitching out of some jams here in this game, too.
And, you know, that's a little bit of what happens in the American League. You know, your spot doesn't come up if you're behind the game, so you don't have to, manager doesn't have to make that decision where you're going to pinch hit for a pitcher. And we talked about our Toyota keys to the game is when he complete 6 innings, he wins. When he doesn't, he loses. So he's in line for this victory and hopefully he can complete the 6th inning.
Here is Castro at the plate, taps it foul. Sometimes, I'm not saying that this is necessarily the situation, but you would have Garcia start this inning to face a lefty Castro. Then you have Marisnick and Springer on deck, and you might see Reyes.
Well, you could see that, and Reyes continues to throw, but I think if he retires Castro, I think you go at least until you give up a base runner.
Agreed. Just missed.
Yeah, just missed right there. Changes are being good. The breaking ball's coming along.
High fly ball into deep right. This ball is way out of here. Into the 2nd deck.
Now you might see the pitcher change. Third home run that Jaime has allowed in this game, and that'll be it for him tonight.
Makes it an 8-5 St. Louis lead.
Still in line for the victory, but now you've got the bullpen to account for the last 9 outs. Or excuse me, last 12 outs.
So it's our Chevy called to the pen, and the young phenom Alex Reyes trotting in from the pen. It's been fun to watch so far. For Alex Reyes, we saw him over the weekend, 2 scoreless innings against Chicago. And how he is so far, and albeit brief, lived up to the billing of what we have heard about Alex Reyes. It's been fun to watch.
It really has been, and he's really handled himself very well. You know, he seems to be quite poised. It's a little easier to do it when you have the firepower that he possesses. A good changeup, an outstanding curveball, and flame.
Look at that nasty breaking ball to MARISNICK. Now, over the weekend, we saw a lot of changeups.
Yeah, and remember now, everybody's going to, they've heard about the fastball, and they can throw 100+ miles an hour. So if you throw those secondary pitches, you know, then you've just got, you're playing with the head of a hitter.
Here's a 1-1 pitch to MARISNICK. What I notice is how free and easy it is coming out of his hand.
Yeah, very simple motion, and it just explodes out of the hand.
Number 2 overall prospect in baseball. Number 1 for the Cardinals, and goodbye. There's the changeup, sinking, and a strikeout for Reyes. Well, we talked about it, how this young man, Chevy Foxtracks, in terms of a pennant race, could be an X factor for the Cardinals late in games.
How many times have we seen somebody comes out of the bullpen and is that, you know, surprise arm? But this is no surprise. He had the stuff. Now does he have the intellect to do it at this level? And so far you have to say yes.
Springer was hit by a pitch, walked in, also grounded out. Here's the 1-0.
Kind of laughed when I saw our graphic when on his major league debut at 170. He's a little heavier than that. What would you say, about 215, 220?
Probably.
But I mean, he's fits the, you know, it fits his body. He's a big man.
Here's a 3-0 pitch, and he walked him. So 1 out walk, and it brings in Bregman.
That's the one thing too that, you know, a lot of times, Dan, you can have a youngster like Reyes that in the minor leagues has trouble throwing strikes. But they come up here in relief, and they know they can't afford to do that, and they find that they have much better control.
Eight to 5 Cardinals. Bregman with 2 hits tonight. Home run, 2-run shot in the first, a base hit in the second, and he's also flied out to right.
He wants to talk to him. Plenty of stuff. They don't need to rear back. They need good, nice and easy throw strikes. We'll take our chances.
That'll find the seats out of play. High strike, and he struck him out. The throw down to first, back in safely.
We talked about earlier that Tony Randazzo, home plate umpire, is calling the higher pitch.
This to me is a fun matchup. Reyes against, right now, one of the best hitters in baseball, if not the best.
Yep.
He struck out 2.
I think the hardest pitch he's thrown tonight is just 97.
Just. Altuve can't catch up, and it's hit out of play.
97 there. Well, you know, he just really finishes off his pitches, and that's where you get that velocity. That's where you get the explosion. You know, have that nice easy motion to where you're staying on top of the ball, you're finishing off the pitch.
Here's the 0-1 pitch to Altuve. Pulled foul. I mean, there's a hitter making an adjustment. 97 first pitch, 97 that pitch, to where he pulls it. First one couldn't catch up.
And you got to have a feeling you probably will not see another fastball, or at least before 2 or 3 pitches, as a fastball is called inside. I may have to throw to first.
You just never know, do you?
That's kind of interesting why Yachty would change balls there. And then he'll throw it out for the umpire. Yachty, when the ball hits the dirt and you've got a pitcher out there, let him throw the dirty ball.
Sets up outside, and the 0-2 pitch to Altuve. 98 on the gun.
They tried to overthrow that one. That's all right. You're trying to waste the pitch anyway.
Big gap in left center field. Runner at first is Springer.
Fastball away again.
1-2, takes it that way, and Piscotty is there. Alex Reyes comes in. Pair of strikeouts and the lineup. We head to the 7th, 8-5 Cardinals. A home run inning. Cardinals hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. Davinsky is in the game. Archevy called to the pen, a right-hander that is 1-4 this year. He's actually made some starts, but primarily his work out of the bullpen. 33rd appearance of the year. Opponent's only hitting .226 against him. He played baseball at Cal State Fullerton, drafted by the White Sox in the 25th round of the 2011 draft. Then was traded to Houston as the player to be named later in the Brett Myers deal. He possesses a very good changeup. You just saw it there on that pitch. Big night for Tommy Pham. A double to left center, scored. That was on a 3-2 pitch. And then a home run back in the 5th. A 2-run shot. That also was on a 3-2 pitch. Interesting year for Tommy Pham. This is his 124th at bat. He has 9 home runs. He had 153 at bats last year with 5 home runs. Swings through the changeup, and the Cardinals, the home runs are piling up. A number of players in double figures.
Yeah, and he's almost close to, one more, and he'll be right there too. Of course, a lot of them are now pushing 15 home runs.
And a strikeout of Pham. That's how we start the 7th.
Davinsky struck out 7 batters in a row, falling 1 strikeout shy of the club record for consecutive strikeouts held by our old friend Jim Deshaies. He had 8 back in '86 against the Dodgers.
Stephen Piscotty. So Keuchel, 5+ innings, 6 runs, 7 strikeouts. Neshek, 1 inning, gave up 2 runs. And now Davinsky. Hit to short, taken there by Carlos Correa. 2 away. In steps Carpenter on base twice tonight. Base hit to right, 2-strike pitch back in the 1st. And scored on the RBI by Yadier Molina. Grounded back to the pitcher, walked and scored in the 6th. Big blow in this game off of Pat Neshek. 3-run homer by Jed Jerko.
Now 5 home runs hit in this game. 2 by the Cardinals, 3 that Jaime Garcia served up. I mean, it only allowed, I believe it was 12 home runs on the year.
Floats in there for a strike.
I mean, he allowed 13 in his 23 starts prior to tonight, and 3 of them 5+ innings.
Two. Popped up left side and out of play. With 2 strikes, a shift on here for Carpenter along the infield. Held up, did not go. 3-2. Talk about it so much, his ability to hold up on a pitch that's deep in the zone. Doesn't commit, keeps himself in there.
Very, very close, but
yanked foul, and watch out. The 3-2 pitch. And a strikeout of Carpenter. Time to stretch. Reyes back to work. Cardinals on top. Eight to 5, and a look at our game summary. Jaime Garcia, 5 innings, 7 hits, pitched out of trouble all night long. Jerko, big 3-run blast back in the 6th. Keuchel, 5 innings. Bregman with a home run, his first in the big leagues. Carlos Correa takes a ball on the curve, delivered by Alex Reyes. Second inning of work in relief of Jaime Garcia. Went 5+, 7 hits, 6 runs. Curveball, a much tighter one there. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Tool survey, the Cardinals' #1 prospect, Alex Reyes, had the best curveball and the best fastball in the minor leagues. And we don't even talk about that good changeup.
Two-one pitch. 98. Correa trying to extend his hitting streak to 11. He has walked, he has struck out, and also grounded into a fielder's choice. 2-2 the count. Just seems like when he's been on the mound, a little extra jump in this team. And a base hit into right.
That's sometimes what youth can do for a team. You know, they get excited seeing a young player come up here and this high pitch, gets on top of it and hits it inside the first base bag for his 11-game hitting streak. Zach Duke is throwing in the Cardinal bullpen.
Here's Gonzalez, solo home run back in the third. Strike on the inside corner.
Look to see Gonzalez as a switch hitter to see if there was one side that he was better than the other. 257 both ways, left and right. How often does that happen? I'd have to say he has more power right-handed, his natural side. A changeup.
Could be two with the shift out there. No chance for Garcia.
Yeah, it just wasn't hit hard enough.
That's the old 5-6 fielder's choice with the shift. Brings in Evan Gattis. Slowly hit, but they do get the lead man.
And no choice there with Gonzalez running from the left-hand side of the batter's box.
Evan Gattis 0 for 3 tonight. Fly to right, fly to left, and also popped out.
But boy, you got to respect his power in this small little bandbox. When he came over from the Atlanta Braves, this was a ballpark that was tailor-made for him. You know, with a short right field, or excuse me, left field porch.
Pop back foul. You know, the beauty of Reyes too, having been conditioned this year as a starter, multiple innings coming out of the pen now.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, and maybe, you know, a week or two from now you may not say that, because you may want to just save him for, you know, one inning and see if he can bounce back and be that guy that you can count on back-to-back games or 3 out of 5 days.
The way it is now, Al, can you count on him because of the way that he's conditioned to go on back-to-back games, or is that going to take a week or two?
I'm not sure, but I mean, I'm telling you, the way I saw him warm up on Sunday night. Was it Sunday night or Saturday? It was Sunday. No, it was Saturday, right? And you made the point. You said he just got up. and he went out there. So, you know, he's got the mind condition that he doesn't need to take 15 minutes like a lot of starters when they go down the bullpen for the first time. They feel like they got to have 1 inning or 2 to loosen up.
2-2 pitch. Curveball misses. He's having trouble with that curveball.
You know, it's a different adrenaline flowing here at the major leagues than it is in the minor leagues, and so a lot of times your arm's going to speed up, and your curveball you're going to be dragging behind, can't get on top of it.
3-2. Out of play.
Look like you get around on a fastball. You don't want to speed his bat up on a breaking ball, and you really want to throw a 3-2 changeup. Sinker at 97-98.
Fastball, goodbye. Struck him out. Home plate umpire hearing it from the home crowd, but the Plaza Tire Service replay shows it catches the bottom of the zone. So Reyes has come in. He's recorded 5 outs and picked up 3 strikeouts. A.J. Reed will pinch hit for Teoscar Hernandez.
He's one of their big prospects. Reed led the minor leagues in home runs a year ago.
It's a look at baseball's future in many ways. Altuve, Correa, Bregman, now Reed against Alex Reyes. 2 outs, runner at first, and that swung on and missed.
Reed was the 2015 minor league player of the year. He was a 2nd-round pick back in 2014, second overall. 23 years of age, 6'4", 275. He was 0 for 16 in his first 16 plate appearances. Got his first hit on July the 1st, and a day later he hit his first home run. Change up. Great pitch for young hitters.
Gets by Molina. Wild pitch charge to Alex Reyes. Our crowd tonight 30,438. 3-0, 4-3-8. 2 balls, 1 strike. Another aspect of Reyes too is that you think about piggybacking on Luke Weaver, whose next start is Saturday. It tails back in for a strike. Good changeup.
And he would even be able to do that, and still, you know, you'd want him to have a tune-up in between. Yadi helped bringing that one back to strike zone.
Reyes had come in with 4 innings pitched, 1 hit, no run since his call-up. 4 strikeouts, only 1 walk. Three-two pitch, struck him out. 97 on the gun. Reyes 2 innings, scoreless, 4 strikeouts. 8-5 Cardinals here in the top of the 8th. Brandon Moss leads it off. Reed stays in the game at first base, and Marwin Gonzalez shifts from first to left. Moss a 2-hit night. RBI and a run scored. Second inning of work for Davinsky. Fouled back in strike one. Made quick work of the Cardinals back in the 7th with a pair of strikeouts and a groundout. No one throwing in the Cardinals' pen, so you may see Reyes out there for one more inning. And you think about an American League game and your pitcher spot does not come up. That's another aspect of the DH.
It's where a lot of people will say that you don't really have to manage in the American League. And I know Tony La Russa was upset when he first heard that, but I think after a while in the National League, you realize it's a better game. You know, without the DH, with all the decisions, pitching decisions to be made.
Moss again hits it out of play.
I've seen American League games where a guy will give up 6 runs in the first inning and get a complete game.
Two pitch.
Of course, that
pulled the string on him and struck him out.
Of course, that was 30 years ago.
Things have changed a little bit. Davinsky has struck out 3 of the 4 he's seen. We turn to our Quicken Loans Rocket Arms, and they've got a couple of hard throwers in the pen. Ken Giles averaging 97 with his fastball, and Phillies right at 95. Here's Yadier Molina. And Molina hits it a ton out to center field. Marisnick is back on Towles Hill and makes the catch. That may be a home run in this ballpark next year as they will take out Towles Hill. And once they take it out, here's what it will look like.
It's 436 to the deepest part of Towles Hill, and that'll make it more uniform.
Never forget Jimmy Edmonds' catch on Towles Hill.
Yep, running up that hill, and it's a incline. It's about 30 degrees, and he just kind of went forward. Old Crosley Field in Cincinnati had a hill, and Tal Smith was the president of the Astros at the time of this, and he always loved Crosley Field, and so as a tribute to him, they put the Towles Hill out there, the incline in center field, and the light standard in play with a flagpole in play.
Peralta grounds out, and a 1-2-3 for Davinsky. is brought to you by Bud Light. Raise 1-2 right now. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. 8-5 our scores. We move to the bottom of the 8th here in Houston. And Minute Maid Park. 2 scoreless innings out of Alex Reyes, and now it is Zach Duke in our Chevy Colt to the pen. Reyes impressive with 4 strikeouts, gave up 1 hit, no runs, in relief of Jaime Garcia, 5+. He gave up 6. And for Duke, it's appearance number 61, and with the injuries, you may see him more and more in these late inning situations. Matt Bowman also throwing in the Cardinals pen. Jason Castro leads it off. He is homered here tonight. Grounded out and walked. 8-5 St. Louis.
I don't know if Castro's ever really lived up to their expectations. Big catcher, looks like he's about 6'5", and you have the little bit of problem getting down, moving behind the plate. And I think offensively, they thought he would hit better.
So far, Zach Duke, since the trade, 26 batters he has seen, 5 2/3, 1 earned run allowed, and he's struck out 7. 2 balls and 1 strike.
And we saw him an awful lot early in his career, where he was with the Pirates, starting pitcher, and left there in 2010. 2013, he kind of bounced around, but he was in the minor leagues with the Reds when all of a sudden he decided to start dropping down.
Look at that. That is nasty stuff there.
And that has resurrected his career, made him a reliable reliever.
A pitch right there. Pretty good example of what you're talking about. Alex Reyes, impressive again here tonight. 4 strikeouts, 2 scoreless innings. Gave up 1 base hit. That was it. He is fun to watch.
Another big weapon for Mike Matheny. And right now we need those guys, especially with probably Seagrass out for a couple days. Duke gets elevated to this assignment right here.
Cardinals feel they can pitch him in just about any situation too. Lefty, multiple innings, late inning situation, fills a lot of roles. 2-0 on Jake Marisnick.
But
There's a strike.
But I think right now, if Seagrass is going to be out for a while, you've got to keep him to 1 inning, so you can be going, back to back, hopefully 3 days in a row. Bowman is warming up behind him.
A little bit low, 3-1.
About Matt Bowman, how much his role has increased through the year.
A chopper that's hit to second. Carpenter makes the play. 2 away. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. George Springer on base 3 times. Pair of walks, was hit by a pitch. Breaking ball, drops in for a strike. Think about what the Astros have seen here tonight. Garcia, a lot of changeups right around 78 to 80 miles an hour. Reyes comes in hitting 97, 98 on the gun. Now you shift back to another lefty that's throwing harder than Garcia, but still not nearly close to the velocity of Alex Reyes.
Sometimes people don't realize the importance of that. The guys that pitch before and after you. Heard that criticism of Houston that a lot of their starters will all throw the same way. They really don't have a whole lot of variance.
And he struck him out. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Zach Duke. The relief corps so far has been perfect. Ball game to face the leadoff man here in the ninth, Jed Jerko, then Grichuk and Garcia. Giles came over from the Phillies. Tarshevy called to the pen. As we showed earlier, he is a hard thrower, can hit triple digits. 51st appearance. Lost his closer's role earlier this year. The Phillies got back Mark Appel, who's a top pick, Vincent Velasquez, Brett Oberholzer, Thomas Eshelman, and Herod Araz. First pitch, 96.
Well, they say it was a king ransom for Giles to come over here, and then, like you said, beginning of the season, he lost his closer's role. He's just coming off paternity leave, had their first child on Friday, but he has regained it, you know. And last year with Philadelphia, he had a 1.80 ERA, 15 saves, and 69 appearances. The year before that, it was a 1.18 in 44 games.
A 7th round pick back in 2011. As Jerko fouls it back, made a rapid rise to their minor leagues.
And the reason they felt like they had to pay that ransom to get a hard thrower. Nissan drive of the game, 3-run home run by Jerko. But you know, they lost a 4-run lead in the playoffs last year.
And Jerko strikes out. Here's Randall Grichuk. Struck out, doubled and scored, and also flied out to left.
Giles is also 25 years of age. Power against power here, right?
You bet. And he rips it into left center with the fastball. One hops off the 404 sign. That got out there in a hurry, and look at Grichuk. racing to third, showing off the speed twice here tonight. A double and now a triple.
Well, his parents bought 300 tickets and then started distributing them and reselling them to all their family and friends, and he has put on a show twice. He has rifled 2 extra base hits. He can turn on a fastball, especially early in the count, and here he put on a show going to third. So a double earlier and now a triple. I said power against power.
Not Ray Garcia. The infield is drawn in, and a fastball and a strike. As fast as that ball got out there to the 404 sign, there's not many that stretch that into a triple. Same thing with his double, too.
Yeah, remember, it was a bang-bang play, and he had to hustle on that one, and they had a good execution to throw back in. He just beat it.
So with that triple, potential of a 4-run lead, you'd bring in Broxton. If not, it's Seung-Hwan Oh. And Eugene surveying the situation.
Blaze will come in with Broxton.
0-2 pitch. And Garcia strikes out. Hit speed off the bat of Randall Grichuk, 104.3.
Very quick to the ball. Quick bat. That's part of the reason why he gets in trouble with 2 strikes and breaking balls off the plate, because he's so quick.
Here's Tommy Pham. Then it becomes a situation where you ask him to trust your hands and your ability to wait on a pitch.
Right. You know, a lot of young hitters, a lot of hitters in general, fear being, you know, pitched inside. But the real good hitters trust that their hands will be there. You know, that they'll get to the hitting zone on a ball inside.
Here's the 0-1 to Pham. Pitch number 10 of the inning for Giles. He's went with a couple of breaking balls against Tommy, who has doubled to left center and has a 2-run homer back in the 5th. Other 2 plate appearances, he struck out.
He could strike out the side and give up a base hit and throw only 11 pitches.
And the 0-2. Went with it again. Think about the breaking ball and the potential of a wild pitch. Good play there by Castro.
Like I said, you know, I remember early in his career, Castro really, and he had a foot issue. He had a broken bone in his foot that really hampered him. But being so big, at times it was hard for him to bounce around and block pitches in the dirt.
One, 2. Got the fastball and fouled it back.
99. You know, we know if Pham comes through and makes it a 4-run game, we see Broxton. But if you're gonna bring in O, if anybody reaches base, you know, sometimes you just wonder why you don't bring in the closer.
Strikes out the side.
They'll bring in the closer.
Seung-Hwan Oh will come on when we come back. to Seung-Hwan Oh, Cardinals closer, who just continues to pitch so well, and some amazing numbers among National League rookies since 1913. Second in opponent's average at 169. First in OPS. His whip is first, and strikeout to walk ratio tied for third. Anywhere you want to look, this guy's put up pretty good numbers. He will get Bregman, Altuve, Correa. So 2, 3, and 4 in the lineup. The Cardinals in this game have stranded a total of 2.
One in the first inning, and then Grichuk there in the 9th, stranded at third base. They've struck out 15 times.
And yet a chance to take game 1 of the series. First pitch, hit out of play. Bregman with a 2-run homer back in the first, is first in the big leagues, then an infield hit in the second. He's flied to right and also struck out. And the 0-1. Really took some off that pitch. No balls and 2 strikes. Miami has posted a loss tonight. Cardinals with a win, move ahead of Miami for the second wild card spot. And the 0-2 pitch by O.
Usually with very good control.
Molina sets up inside the 1-2, struck him out. And that's how we start the bottom of the 9th.
And Danny, remember, you know, in the first half we saw so many times it was just away, particularly to right-handed batters. Now you're starting to see a few more pitches in and surprising them. You know, having a little wrinkle, a little trick in the bag to get some of these hitters out. They start leaning and looking away, then you can exploit the inside part of the plate and get those called strikes.
Here's Altuve, rips it out to left field. Jose Altuve with hit number 1,000 of his career.
Didn't take long, did it?
No. 1,000 hits, Jose Altuve.
And they just gave him the ball and a nice standing ovation. Well deserved. Fastest in Astros history to 1,000. And second fastest of any active player. His third hit of the game is a special one.
Correa takes his time getting in the batter's box to acknowledge the moment for Altuve. The bullpen of the Cardinals tonight, 3 1/3 with 7 strikeouts in this game. Reyes, 4 strikeouts. Duke with 2. O with a strikeout to start the bottom of the 9th.
And that's only the second hit that they have allowed, the bullpen has allowed tonight too. How about a double play ball and go home?
Strike 1 on Correa. He has walked, struck out, grounded into a fielder's choice, and a single to right. Here's the 0-1. Make it 0-2.
Sneaky fastball. Short arms it and hides the ball well, so that fastball gets on you quicker than you might think.
Blew it by him. Strikeout number 2 for O.
That's what I'm saying. You know, like his 91-mile-an-hour fastball looks like somebody's 97 because he hides the ball well. They don't pick it up until it's already been released.
And the Astros down to their final hope Marwin Gonzalez, who had a solo home run back in the third. Six of the last 7 outs have been recorded via the strikeout. Chase the ball, strike one.
Where would this club be without O? When Cardinals signed him and you looked at his numbers overseas, you had to be very intrigued. But then to see him in spring training, he said this will work, but I don't think anybody could have envisioned him to have this type of start. And then we get the bonus of Eugene. Who, the interpreter, the package deal for the Stone Buddha. We got to give Eugene a nickname.
I like Eugene. Mama called me Eugene. I call him Eugene. One and two the count. And the Astros down to their final strike. The 1-2. Check swing, and he went. Oh, strikes out the side here in the bottom of the ninth, and the Cardinals take game one, 8-5.
So important to win this ball game. It sets the tone for the game tomorrow, and hopefully a very, very successful road trip after splitting 4 in Chicago.
Jed Jerko, our Budweiser player of the game, 3-run homer in the 6th inning. And it was a no-doubter. And Jerko is your Budweiser